What's going on guys, Shiny Sorlo here, back with another video. I always found human souls to be extremely interesting. The reason I find the souls to be interesting is the traits associated with them. These traits have never been fully confirmed, our only information of these traits were thanks to the ball game. What's more interesting in my opinion, is the fact that the red soul never got a trait associated with it in the same way. What I plan on doing is making sense of each assumed soul trait for each soul, and figuring out what red might actually be. With that being said, let's begin. Before analyzing any of the souls, let's talk about what soul traits actually are. Based on soul traits, the ball game says, bravery, justice, integrity, kindness, perseverance, and patience. We seem to be dealing with personality traits. Which means to figure this out we'll have to look for the actions of the soul owners, soul mode, and attacks, objects they've owned, Omega Flois battle, and possibly color symbolism. Some of these will definitely be harder to look for, due to having almost no idea of the other humans in Undertale, but I'm going to try my best. Let's start off with the Cyan soul, which seems to be represented as patience. Cyan's items can be found in the ruins, which is the first area of the game. This tells us that Cyan was one of the humans that stayed with Toriel for a long time, as the old Frogget from the anniversary stated. If it's true they stayed with Toriel for a long time, then it's probable they built a connection with her, so left their items as a reminder of them before their leave. Though we never get an actual Cyan soul mode in Undertale, we do get blue attacks which are closer to the Cyan soul's color. When it comes to these blue attacks, you have to stay still, or in other words be patient not to take damage. Okay, but how does a toy knife and a ribbon even associate with patience in the slightest? I agree that at face value this makes no sense. I mean, why would you even want a toy knife in the first place? Perhaps they used it for cutting objects, and if that's true then you'd have to have patience to cut something with it. It'd probably be more dull than a butter knife. I know the toy knife answer was sort of a stretch, but as for the ribbon, I think that just symbolizes how long it's been there. The thing I didn't mention about the ribbon is it's called the Faded Ribbon, and that name alone sounds like it's been used for a while, and whether Toriel gave it to them, or they fell with it, the quantity of time would have been a while. In Omega Flois boss fight, when the Cyan soul sides with you, it uses bandages to heal you, which are meant to cover up a wound so you don't make it worse, which is probably the most patient approach you could go for. With all things considered, I'd have to say Cyan being patient makes perfect sense. However, does orange match up with bravery? We know little to nothing about the orange human except that they were likely male. The reason I say that is because the armor associated with them is called a manly bandana. While it is theoretically they are a tomboy, I am just going based on the little information I have. Orange too does not have a soul mode, but they also have an attack which you have to rush through in order not to take damage. The two items the orange human owned were the tough glove, and the manly bandana. While I've already talked about the bandana, I haven't talked about their glove yet. Obviously it's straight up called the tough glove, which realistically would be enough for me to say makes sense for bravery, just because of naming schemes. However, the fact their weapon is a glove implies the only thing they had to defend themselves were their fists, which is the bravest option you could use to fight with, and depending on the context very stupid, but that's not the point. In Omega Flois fight we see their gloves as open hands to attack us, which could mean they are resisting against Flois control to deal less of a punch, and when you call for help their gloves go into a thumbs up position. You know, it's rather interesting that the orange human is kind of communicating with us. If it isn't obvious, I believe bravery makes sense for the orange human. Now we discuss the blue human, the one claimed to be integrity. We know probably the most about this specific human compared to others, which isn't that much still. The blue human was definitely a ballerina, we know that due to their equipment. When we get the blue flag in the ball game it says hopping and twirling. Your original style pulled you through, which only builds on the whole ballerina factor. There is one bit of knowledge upon their past that is the most interesting in my opinion. There is unused dialogue in Undertale for if there was an echo flower in the room where you can pick up the ballet shoes. The dialogue is, I can't run any longer. Somebody, anybody. I am going to be honest guys, this is really the only part so far that fits integrity themes, which isn't enough, but I'll continue. The blue human is our first human with a distinct soul mode that I get to talk about. When the soul is blue you have to abide by the rules of gravity. Yeah, this is also weak but it counts I guess. As for the blue humans' items, well, their weapon is ballet shoes, which as funny as this is doesn't really tell us anything, and their armor is an old tutu, which Papyrus describes as a dusty tutu. That could imply this human either killed at least one monster, or alternatively the tutu was behind that waterfall for a while. Uninterestingly, in the Omega Flowy fight they use ballet shoes and stars to attack, and when you call for help they use music notes to heal you. While integrity can work, it's rather loose. I don't even know how to start with this one if I'm being honest, and I knew I was going to struggle at this point, because truthfully I never really understood why purple was perseverance. The purple human likely had bad eyesight, and took notes about what they encountered based upon their equipment. Their soul mode changes movement in a way so moving up and down is across lines and nearly instant, meanwhile moving left and right is completely unaltered. This soul mode seems to represent their notebook rather than the purple human themselves. Their items are definitely the most interesting compared to the other humans, cloudy glasses and torn notebook, and both have the ability to boost invincibility frames. This is the one thing from the purple human I can understand with perseverance, but I wouldn't say it's nearly enough to definitively prove it, so I'll continue. Maybe Omega Flowy's fight will have something to work with? Well, not really. See, in the Omega Flowy words come from the notebooks, the negative words will hurt you, and when you call for help the positive words heal you. I even tried digging into what purple symbolizes in general, but I wouldn't really say royalty, luxury, and power really fit. I mean maybe ambition, but once again it's not enough to say perseverance matches purple. Before I continue analyzing the souls, let me present you with a mini theory. What if the blue soul is perseverance, and the purple soul is integrity? The blue human is clearly associated with ballet, which is incredibly hard to learn. Ballet as an art takes a lot of perseverance to learn. In Omega Flowy's fight during the Blue Soul segment they heal us with stars, and stars tend to be associated with success and popularity, which could mean they were well taught in the art. Now what about the purple soul? Well, they had a notebook, right? So what do you use a notebook for? Taking notes, of course. That could imply they took notes about their surroundings to gather information, and if they wanted to gather information they'd have to use honesty. In the Omega Flowy fight they use something that'd fit better with a sense of integrity, though I do admit it's a slight stretch. However, harmful words attack us, and the positive words heal us, which could be them being aware that words are able to inflict damage upon the mental state. Anyways, I'm going to continue with the analysis now. I have no doubt that green is kindness. We know that the green human definitely enjoys cooking, which by itself means nothing, however food items do have healing properties. Green has both an attack and a soul mode. Green attacks are self-explanatory, after all they heal HP. However, the green soul mode is a little strange, it restricts all movements, and despite us being able to block when we have it, those are thanks to outside forces. Now for the green soul I am going to speculate a little bit. I believe the reason the green soul can't move is because we were fighting against a monster, and since most monsters can't dodge, the green soul plays fair and doesn't dodge itself. Alright, but let's get back to facts. The items associated with the green soul are the stained apron and the burnt pen. If you have the burnt pen equipped, all healing items will heal for more health, and if you have the stained apron equipped you will recover 1 HP every other turn. Overall I think this is enough to prove that this is a perfect matchup.
For the select few people who think Undertale Yellow is canon, it's not. To the people who know it isn't canon, yes, those people do exist.
Anyways, does the yellow soul match up with the role of justice? Looking through everything I have accessible to me, the info we know about them seems to be based mostly on their gun. The items associated with the yellow human are an empty gun and a cowboy hat, which yes implies they played the role of a cowboy, which are traditionally associated with justice. The yellow soul mode is literally just the regular soul mode, but it's upside down like a monster soul, so it can shoot bullets out of it, which even that doesn't really tell us anything because Alphys made a mod with the phone to do that. Then in the Omega Flowy fight, once again the gun is used for attacking, but what is of note is the fact that when we call for help the gun shoots flowers. Sure, it could just be an Easter egg to cartoons, like The Simpsons or Looney Tunes. I think it represents the real-life symbolization, peace and love over violence and conflict, with the mixture of them having the cowboy persona kind of fits together. Alas, we have gotten to the Red Soul, belonging to Frisk, the first fallen human, and Chris if we're counting Deltarune. It was popularized pretty early to believe that red was determination. While I don't believe that the Red Soul is determination, there is some evidence to point towards it. Every save point claims you are filled with determination, and upon death Asgore will tell the name you've given to the first fallen human to stay determined. However, the flaws with this are, determination seems to be an ability rather than a trait. Flowy has also had determination despite being soulless. Every human has likely had the ability of determination according to Asgore's reaction, and determination is a removable substance considering that's how Alphys made the amalgams and Flowy. So if red isn't determination, then what is it? To figure this out we're going to have to examine the first fallen human, and Frisk to some degree. During the epilogue of Undertale we can talk with Asriel. In that interaction they mention a few things about the first fallen human, their strong hatred for humanity, the reason for their fall not being a happy one, but most importantly he talks about what happens after he absorbs their soul. For a matter of fact, Asriel and them had equal control over their body. The first fallen human used their control over the body to pick up their empty corpse. When going to the village the first fallen human wanted to use the full power, and Asriel resisted against it. When listening to the second tape in the True Lab we get dialogue of a time between Asriel and the first fallen human. Summarizing the tape we see it's about Asriel asking the first fallen child to do their scary face. At first the human does comply, but it turns out the lens cap was on, so when Asriel asked them to do it again they refused, but did it again with Asriel saying stop tricking me. Oh yeah, there's an interesting letter from one of the Deltarune newsletters in relation to the first fallen child. I'll put the letter on screen if you want to read it for yourself, but for now I'm just going to summarize the concepts of it. The letter talks about how their favorite number is 9, because it's the biggest number, and also because once a number is high enough you become invincible. Now finally, at the end of the genocide route you get to meet the first fallen child. Upon meeting you they'll present you the option to either destroy the world, or not destroy the world. However, to call it a choice feels a little misleading. After all, upon answering do not they'll ask you when you were ever in control, and complete the choice. Now enough about the first fallen human, let's talk about Frisk. Our control over Frisk is stronger than the control we have in Deltarune. Don't get me wrong, but there are still moments where Frisk has control over moments. In Alphys Lab there's two things that tell us about Frisk, the dog food which explains their mental state depending on what you did to the dog monsters within your route, and Alphys Fridge where we can find soda and instant noodles but we're unable to take the soda. The soda thing even comes back during the Undyne hangout where if we try to take it Frisk's face scrunches up. They also are capable of choosing how they say the thing out of options we pick. I'll give one example so this video doesn't last too long. If we choose to insult Monster Kid they'll say that their sister says that to them all the time, but their idea of a good insult is saying they hate our guts. This implies Frisk probably called them something like a dork or nerd. During the genocide route in Snowdin Frisk walks without our input whether it's to skip puzzles, or to walk closer to monsters. So, what do I believe to be the trait of the Red Soul? Well, before this video I thought it was love, but after analyzing Frisk and the first fallen human I have come to a realization. A similar attribute among the two humans is a sense of control, and the main theme of Undertale is consequences from our choices. Each of the soul traits seem to be positive, so the trait I've landed on for red is authority. Originally this video was going to have another part in it, but I ended up deciding to make it a two-parter instead. Luckily part 2 will come out whenever I finish it rather than on my loose schedule. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video and you should consider subscribing to my channel to stay updated, and join my Discord servers if you want immediate updates on when me or my friends post. You could also join just to help me build community. With all said and done, I hope to see you next time.